What's up everyone and welcome to the club. In today's video I'll show you step by step on how to draw Doma from Demon Slayer. For this lesson we'll need a sketch pad and a pencil. I'm going to start this drawing off with this 0.7mm mechanical pencil with a 2B graphite stick. Now I want to begin by breaking down the basic shape and proportions before we get into the details. So let's start by sketching a line coming down the center of our page. We'll start at the very top in the middle. Just going to use these short lines, pulling this line coming all the way down towards us. Now we're going to move to the center and draw another line going across from left to right. Now these two lines are going to help us create a large circle along the top of our page to define the size of the head. So from that center point, we're just going to move up to right about here. Let's mark off the top of our circle. I'm going to measure this distance down towards the bottom, do the same thing. And then we'll repeat that across this horizontal line. So measuring the distance from the center over towards the left, and then over towards the right. Now I want to connect the center point of each mark with a curve to create our circle. So we'll start with the top left. And the circle doesn't have to be perfect. We're just using this as a guide. So we can just go back and just smooth this out as best we can. Now I'm going to add another set of guides coming down the side of our circle. So let's start with the left. Come all the way down. And then also push this up towards the top. Let's add another line going across the bottom of our circle from left to right. Now with our circle and guidelines in place, we want to start locating the facial features. Let's start with this large set of eyes. And leave a gap in the center, go to the left. We're just going to mark this off right about here. Let's take this distance over towards the right, do the same thing. Now I want to angle the eyes going up and out with a short angled line. Go up and then out towards the side. Now from here we can determine how large we want to create these eyes. So from the outside line, we're going to step in, bend the eye coming down and in towards that bottom line. Now I want to tuck the iris and pupil underneath the eyelid. So we're going to draw a small half circle. Just going to lightly block this in. You can always go back and just readjust the placement later. Now in between the eyes, we're going to step down, just locate the nose. So right about here, draw a small V. Step down, draw a short line going across from left to right for the edge of the mouth. Now from that center point, we're just going to angle the mouth going up and then out towards the sides. Draw a short line going up around the corner of the mouth. Now we're going to open up the mouth, coming down towards the center. Step down, draw a short line across the lip. Now let's block in the lower half of the head. From the outside of the eye, come down at an angle towards the corner of the mouth, so right about there. Now I'm just going to angle this down and in towards the chin, just underneath the lip. And we'll come back and just smooth this out later. We just want to get the right size and shape. Now I want to leave a gap above the eyes, step up and draw a straight line going across, and we're going to place the eyebrows across this line. Now along the top of the head, we're going to step up and draw a circle going all the way around. And we're just going to block this in very loosely. Now from here, we start adding some shape to the hair. Let's start right in the center, bend this around and then in towards the center of the head. And then go across underneath the left eye and then out. Let's add some thickness, going wider as we come up towards the right, and then pull that back up towards that circle. Now I'm going to continue to add those hair bangs. Let's start in the middle, come across and then out, and then taper that back up towards the circle. Now let's go to the right side of that circle. We're going to bend the hair, going around and across towards the middle. Now on the side, we're just going to block in the ears. Let's start on the left, going up and out across this line. Come down with a straight line. And then bend that back in towards the side of the jaw. From the jaw, we're going to step in, just going to angle the neck, coming down and out. Step up, slope the shoulders with a curve, coming down and out. Let's add some more detail on the right side. We're going to start up here, bend this around, and then curve that back in. Now I'm going to add a hair curling around the side, going up and out, and then we'll bend that in. From the top, it's going to go a little bit wider as I come down, And let's just pull that in on top of the ear. Now from the ear, it's going to bend the hairline going up and then out. Let's add another strand going up towards a point, then bend that back in towards the ear, step down, curl this around and up, come down, and then in towards the bottom of the ear. Now I want to curl the hair across the right side of the neck, starting underneath the ear, bend this out and down, bend this across and then in. Now when you go back up to the top, curl this in just underneath the chin, back out, and then down. Let's add a large strand going out from the side, starting from the left side of that circle, coming down, and then out, and we'll bend that in towards the ear. Let's add a few more strands across the bottom, starting up here, go across, back in. Now we're going to go in behind the ear, and then add one more just up above the shoulder. Let's add a few more across the top, starting from the left side, bend this out and down, curl that up, and then bend that back in. Now with a rough sketch in place, I want to go back and clean this up by erasing some of these guidelines. So I want to take out that center line. Now that we have our clean rough sketch, I want to go back and add a little bit more detail and refine the shapes. So I'm going to start with the overlapping parts first, starting with that hair. Just going to add a little bit more shape coming down, and a little bit of texture along the inside. And with that in place, we're going to go back and add some detail to the eyes. And I want to add that thick eyelid across the top. Just roughly shade that in. And some lashes across the bottom. Let's lightly trace out the outside of the iris. You can make sure that the positioning is correct. You can always adjust it if we need to. I'm just going to add a little bit more detail inside the eye. Now there's a fold just up above the eyes, coming in across the bridge of the nose. Going to work our way down the center towards the nose. Now I'm just going to layer the eyebrows in underneath the hair. So we're going to work across that guideline that we created. There's a couple points along the outside. So I'm just going to block this in. And then lightly shade the inside. And then we're going to add some roundness and shape to the head. Just taking out that hard line going across towards the jaw. Just going to round out the jaw, coming in towards the chin. Now I'm going to add some circles across the top of the head. Just going to layer some in behind as well. And then from the inside, I'm just going to blend this up towards the top. Just blending the top of each circle. And I'm just going to add a wave going across for that trim. Now I'm going to switch to my thicker pencil. This is a 0.9mm. And start adding some contrast. And a little bit more detail and textures. So I'm going to start with the overlapping parts first. So with this hair strand coming down the center of the head. And adding a little bit of weight across the bottom. Now we're going to go back in and start adding some detail and contrast to the eyes. So just darkening up the eyelids and shadows. I'm just going to do one final cleanup before we add in our shading and more details. And now we're going to go and start darkening up our tones, starting with the darkest areas of our drawing. Now switch to the flat edge of my 2mm pencil and start adding some shadows. So start by darkening up the top of the head, just to get the right tone. And then we want to layer the shadows across the underside of our character. So the light's coming from the top, going across, so the shadows will sit along the bottom edge. So let's start with the hair. Just going to lightly add some shadows across the bottom and then fade that up. And the shadow is going to cross the top of the head. Now the head's going to cast a shadow, so a darker shadow across the bottom, just underneath the chin, going across the neck, and we're just going to lean this over towards the right side. So we're just going to angle the light source. Let's add a few different tones inside the eye. Just going back and just cleaning up our shadows. Now as we get near the end, we're just going to tighten up our shadows and add a little bit more detail, and always be sure to sign our artwork. And that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of Doma from Demon Slayer. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I want to thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one.